A few videos ago, we talked about utter blasphemy. The idea that Steven Stamkos could get traded to the Vegas Golden Knights for Chandler Stevenson and a package of that nature. But today, what I wanted to do was expand even more on these Bleacher Report articles because some of their trade ideas that are tossed around are pretty gnarly, if I do say so myself. So, today we are heading over onto a piece published by, once again, Lyle Richardson. He's the guy that does the Spectres hockey stuff, and earlier last week he published this piece on Bleacher Report, the Bleacher Report NHL Trade Block Big Board for October 2023. Now, from the title, from the thumbnail, you know who it is we are talking about today. We are talking about Anaheim Ducks goalie John Gibson. A guy who, at one point in his career, was considered one of the best young up-and-coming goalies in the NHL. A few years ago, he was just a regular Anaheim prospect that eventually made his debut at the team. He had a .954 save percentage in 3 games played in 2013-14, and eventually a .919 in the playoffs that year. And then things just kind of stabilized. He became a consistent .920 goaltender with the Ducks before faltering in numbers as the years went on. The past few seasons have been more in that .900-ish territory of save percentage for Gibson. But the team around him has been a lot worse than it was back when he debuted. No more Corey Perry, no more Getzlaf, no more Bobby Ryan, all these other guys that were really strong players for the team over the years. So as a result, the Ducks ended up sucking a bit. John Gibson's numbers tanked too, but with the current situation in Anaheim going on, John Gibson is an interesting name because at 30 years old, he's got 3 more seasons left on his contract. It expires in 26-27, and he's making $6.4 million a year. Now, he does have modified no-trade protection, but there were some rumors earlier on talking about how Gibson might have apparently wanted out of the team, how this rebuilding status isn't really vibing for him, how he's already 30 and he wants to go out there and get some hardware to his name. That's a totally fair concern to have, especially for a guy playing for a team that is projected to not really being all too great this upcoming season anyway. I mean, they just drafted 2nd overall. Leo Carlsson is probably going to take a while before he becomes the impact player that he was drafted to be. So we're heading back over to this article, the BNR NHL Trade Block Big Board. By the way, if you want to read this yourself, the link is going to be in the description. If you scroll down to what the article writes about with Gibson, it is a very interesting idea. He is listed as the 3rd name on the big board, and Lyle Richardson writes this. Earlier in the offseason, John Gibson was a hot topic in the NHL rumor mill. Conflicting reports about the 30-year-old goaltender requesting a trade from the Ducks placed him at number 4 on our July board. On September 17th, the Hockey News' Matt Levine noted that Gibson doesn't really fit within the Ducks' rebuilding timeline. He believes it would make sense at some point for both sides to cut ties, but for now he remains their starting goalie. Gibson's contract may be the main obstacle in the path to a trade because he's signed till 26-27 with an AAV of 6.4. His goalie stats have also suffered over the past 2 seasons, backstopping a porous Ducks defense. Speculation about Gibson's summer trade dried up over the remainder of the offseason. Nevertheless, on September 8th, the Athletic's Eric Duhacek wondered if the LA Kings might target the Ducks netminder if their current goalie tandem of Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley struggles this season. Duhacek dismissed the notion of the Ducks being unwilling to ship Gibson to the Kings. He believes the days when teams didn't make trades with division rivals are long gone. If the Kings get desperate enough and if the Ducks are keen to part ways with Gibson, perhaps a deal is possible between the clubs. And this is why I said it was blasphemy. Because for a good chunk of John Gibson's prime, the best years of his career where he had all the numbers, the .920 save percentages, etc., these California teams were all stacked. The LA Kings made the finals and they won the cup in 2012 and 2014. The San Jose Sharks made the finals in 2017. The Ducks, while they didn't make the finals, they did make the conference finals a few times and they were pretty darn good in this time frame. John Gibson was battling it out with Jonathan Quick and, at a time, Martin Jones for the best goalie in California honors, and it was a pretty heated race in the mid-2010s type era. Gibson was good, and so was Jonathan Quick. While Martin Jones didn't have that same, let's just say, caliber, he was brought up by the team around him, and he had some great seasons as a result too. So years down the line, the idea to even suggest John Gibson to the LA Kings is totally wild. It's like Henrik Lundqvist to the Devils or Carey Price to the Leafs. It's one of these big deals, and of course, I mean, I get it, those New York teams, Montreal, Toronto, they're not the same level of hype in the hockey world as the Anaheim Ducks are, for example, in terms of fan appeal and marketing, but just from a rivalry standpoint, this would make a lot of heads turn. But if you wanted to go with that idea that Eric Duhatschek lays out in The Athletic, saying, yeah, it doesn't really matter anymore. Like, who cares about trading to a division rival? If your team sucks and their team is trying to get better, why not try to make a trade so you suck even more and you get some picks, you get some prospects, you get some guys that you could value longer term, and your goaltender that doesn't really fit into your timeline right now, ship him off. Send him to a team in LA that is interested in contending again in the short term. And I had to stutter a little bit saying that because I'm not really too sure how the Kings are going to fare, but still, they kind of do have an outside chance looking in if you wanted to say that. So why not go out there and test the waters? Plus, if there's any truth to the extenuating idea that John Gibson has already wanted out of Anaheim for a while, why not trade him to a team like LA where he's not really going to have to adjust all too much lifestyle-wise? I mean, LA and Anaheim are literally just half an hour to an hour drive away depending on the traffic? Like, the guy might not even need to get a new house. Just go north on I-5 and you're in LA. And, I mean, the highway goes right by the Staples Center anyway. Oh my goodness, did I say that? The Staples Center? Nah, Crypto.com Arena, baby. Yeah, we gotta get with the times here. This could be a really ideal situation. And I'm just gonna throw it out there, no matter how odd or how off-putting it is to have Gibson as the LA Kings guy, I'm sure if a deal is made out where both fan bases are able to receive assets they value, this is going to be okay. Like, if the Anaheim Ducks traded Gibson away for whatever, pick, prospect, a good player, the team and the fans, they all kind of knew that he wanted out anyway, so why not do it to LA? It would be weird, but if you get valuable stuff in return, who cares? And the LA Kings, if you get a goalie that's able to bail you out, if Cam Talbot and Phoenix Copley are not able to do that for you, then hey, just get the upgrade. Sure, it costs you a prospect, costs you a pick, but if you guys are trying to remain competitive now, why not? So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this blasphemous idea. This crazy bad, sort of weird voodoo type stuff going on here on Bleacher Report, where they suggest the idea of Anaheim trading Gibson to the Kings. If you're a fan from SoCal, what are your thoughts? If you're a fan of any of these teams, if you're a fan of San Jose, what is your opinion on this? How would you feel suiting up against a John Gibson back-led LA Kings squad? We already saw the Vegas thing go down with Jonathan Quick. Quick was like in LA, and then he went to Vegas, and he was part of the Rangers now. Like, he's all over the place in a very weird way as well. So, I mean, the guy's a Stanley Cup champion, so I don't really think he cares too much. He won another Stanley Cup with the Vegas Golden Knights, and of course, being with the Rangers team that he eliminated in 2014 in the finals, that's weird too. But let me know your thoughts about Gibson and this situation to LA. Do you think it makes sense? If it does, what do you think the trade package should be? If you're a Ducks fan, what would you want in return for your goalie? He's expensive, he's on for a long time, but he's still pretty alright. I think he's a lot better than the numbers indicate just because he's been playing on such a bad team the past few years, but John Gibson at the end of the day was always going to be one of the better American goalies in the league, and I feel like it's a pretty fair assumption to say he's still there. Kings fans, what are your thoughts on Gibson coming over to your squad? Is this an idea you could get behind? And if Phoenix Copley and Cam Talbot are not able to pull their weight, are there any other alternatives you'd like to see instead of Gibson? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and bye.